When I was a lot younger than what I am now, I learned a really tough lesson. And that lesson was that I am responsible for everything in my life. But not only was it a tough lesson to learn, it was also a very liberating lesson to learn. So let me share with you what the lesson is. And the lesson is the universal law of cause and effect. The cause of something is what makes something happen, whereas the effect is what happens as a result of the cause. So if you take an action, which is the cause, the result of that action is the effect. It's the universal law of cause and effect. But not only does cause relate to your actions, it also relates to your thoughts, your perceptions, as well as your behaviors. So whatever actions, thoughts, behaviors, perceptions you do or have is the cause. And the results of those actions, thoughts, behaviors, and perceptions is the effect. And the hard part about the lesson of the universal law of cause and effect is that you're responsible for everything in your life as a result. So let me explain. When something good happens in your life, or there's a moment in your life that you perceive as being good, your natural response will to feel good inside about what that moment is. Yet when something bad happens in your life, or there's a moment in your life that you perceive as being bad, your natural response will be to not only feel bad, but also to resent someone or something that's external to yourself. Be it a person, the environment, circumstances, or whatever. But if you want to change your results, or in other words, the effect, you have to change your own actions, thoughts, behaviors, and perceptions. By changing your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors, and your perceptions from your standpoint, then you're changing the effect of what that external environment, people, or circumstances is giving you. Let's take a really simple example. Right now, everyone globally has been living through the COVID pandemic. Now, you have a choice as to what effect that pandemic will have on you or your business. And it all starts with your actions, your behaviors, your perceptions, and your thoughts. You can have one person respond to the pandemic and acting as if it doesn't exist, or getting on with their life and making whatever changes they need to make to keep moving towards what their mission is. And you can have another person respond to the exact same pandemic and acting as if it's the end of the world, that they can't do anything. Now, I don't want to make light of the pandemic. That's not what this is about. And I know it's a very tough lesson to learn for a lot of people, just as much as it was an extremely tough lesson for me to learn many, many years ago. But once you grasp this lesson and how the universal law of cause and effect operates, then you can literally liberate yourself overnight. Over the past 12 months, I've spoken to business owners that have been in the same business industry as each other and also different industries. And these are industries that the media would report as being decimated. So it's not just one industry. And here's what I found. You get business owners that are doing really well, and you also get business owners that are doing really badly. And they're in the exact same industry. What's the difference? The business owners that are doing well are the ones that are operating from the cause side of things. And the business owners that are doing poorly are operating from the effect side of things. You see, when you're operating from the effect side of things without fully understanding the law of cause and effect, then your response will be to surrender to what's actually happening. Whereas when you're operating on the cause side of things, then you know you're responsible for everything in your life, and therefore you're making things happen. You're being the cause of the effects you want to experience. Is it about being optimistic or positive thinking? No, absolutely not. And also, what's taught about positive thinking is completely wrong, but I'll get to that on a separate episode altogether. You're responsible for everything in your life. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's absolutely true. By you being responsible, it means that you have complete control over the actions you take, your behavior, your perceptions, and your thoughts that you have. And as a result, they determine the choices you make. It's nobody else's fault. And it's important to know that every choice that you make has an effect. Some are short-term and some end up being long-term. By understanding this, you're able to consciously stay on the cause side of the equation of life, which gives you the power and the ability to change your environment and your life. Your thoughts cause you to act, and your actions are the causes that manifest into your life and your business. If you choose to be on the effect side, you're accepting that life is controlled by external forces, environments, and people. You're surrendering your control to others. Then you begin to make excuses and reasons why things aren't happening for you, such as people won't buy your product because the price is too high, there's no business because nobody has any money to spend, you're being cursed because every time you seem to move ahead in your business, there's somebody there waiting to knock you, and the list goes on and on of the excuses. These are all external influences. You've handed control over to other people and circumstances. Eliminate excuses from your life completely. They don't exist. Not everybody in the world thinks your product is priced too high. Not everybody in the world has no money to spend. You haven't been cursed. You've actually cursed yourself. You're responsible for everything in your life. If you're not happy with it, then change your actions, your behaviors, your thoughts, and your perceptions. By choosing to be on the cause side of things, you take control over your own life and what you want showing up. Wealthy people know that they themselves create their life, whereas the poor believe they're a victim of their circumstances. That's the hard fact of things. They blame other people and circumstances for their situation, and they try to justify why they are there in the first place. You have to take responsibility for everything in your life. And I mean everything in your life. If your life isn't showing up as you'd like it, then it's your responsibility to change it. Not anybody else's responsibility, it's your responsibility. Now, sometimes it can be hard and really tough to accomplish, but how much do you want it? If there's something that you're not happy about, then change it. Don't wait for it to change, you change. By taking responsibility and being on the cause side of life, you then have the power to do something about your life, and that will change the effect. We all have a life story to tell. How our parents didn't love us, or we lost a job, or we weren't born into a rich family. Whatever it is, you're not your story. It was probably the best thing that could have happened to you. You just can't see it yet, because you're only seeing one side, and there can never be only one side. Let me give you another simple example of how you can be on the effect side of things. Say you feel someone has done something wrong to you, and your reaction is to feel resentful about that person. So you go through your whole day, week, or month, or even your life for that matter, feeling resentful about that other person. What have you done? You've given all your power away. You're sitting on the effect side of things and licking your wounds instead of taking responsibility for yourself and how you react for yourself. If you're reacting, then you're on the effect side, not the cause side. As soon as you start to react, you're on the effect side. Now, does that mean that you go out and strike revenge on that person? No, it doesn't, because that cause has another effect. What you change is yourself. You're reacting to that person or what they did, but you're only seeing one side. And as you know from listening to my previous episodes, there's always two sides. It's the law of duality. When you see the other side, now you're in control and can move forward in a positive way. Again, if you're not happy about something in your life, you're the one responsible for changing it, not anyone else. What you also need to know about the universal law of cause and effect is that it's non-linear. In other words, it doesn't operate in terms of 1 + 1 = 2. Or if a cause takes place now, then the effect happens now. That's not how it operates. You need to understand that the law of cause and effect is outside of time and space. Now, what does that mean? Well, let me explain by way of an example. You can experience a moment or an event in your life, for example, in your childhood, but the effect of that moment or event doesn't happen until much later in your life. So say you experienced a trauma when you're age 10, that's the cause. Well, the effect of that trauma might not be felt until much later in your life, say around age 40. Equally, you can cause something to happen now, but the effect of that cause may not be experienced until many years later. The law of cause-effect is non-linear. Can it be accelerated? Yes, it can. The same way as the law of attraction works. You can manifest something quickly, but there'll also be times that the manifestation won't happen until much later. So how on earth do you live in a non-linear way when the world seems to be living in a linear way? And that's easy. You live by being. It's that simple. And yet it's also that complex. What your state of being is determines everything, both linear and non-linear. And if you listen to my earlier episodes where I said that there's 12 states of being that I've identified and where I outlined 5 of those states of being, then you'll be able to determine what state of being you're actually being. To get to a point where you're operating in line with the universal laws in both a linear and a non-linear way, you have to move up to the higher states of being, which is where the effect or the manifestation of what it is that you're causing happens more quickly from a linear time and space standpoint. But that's a whole deeper level of understanding. But for now, ask yourself, what side are you on? Are you on the cause side or are you on the effect side? And if you're on the effect side, well, how well is that working out for you? So do you want to be on the cause side and have the power and have control over your own destiny? It's your choice. Now, if you want to learn more about what I'm sharing in this podcast, then come on over to our Facebook group. You'll absolutely really enjoy it because I go a little bit deeper in all the strategies and information that I'm sharing. So if you want to understand more, as well as find out how to live your life in a more effortless way, then come join us in our Facebook group. Just head over to Facebook and search for the Executive Code Facebook group, or visit my website, paulwilliamdavis.com, and there's loads of different links in order to get you to the Facebook group. Or there's a link in the show notes to this episode as well. If you want to go deeper in the knowledge that I'm sharing in this podcast, well then the best place to go to is the Facebook group. But until next time, I wish you every success.